Over the last 2 to 3 years, I have interviewed around 150 applicants, and here is what I have learned from doing that. These are the 5 things that I've learned which will help you both as an interviewer or an interviewee. Whatever you do, these tips are for you, and if you are in business or jobs, this is going to help you either way. So, without further ado, let's begin. The first thing I learned is it's kind of horrendous that most applicants prepare for the interview but do not research the company. Now, what do I mean when I say that? Well, in my experience, what happens is that, okay, let's say I am interviewing someone who is a digital marketer. They will study all about SEO, they will study all about backlinks, they will study all about digital marketing, they will study all about schema markups, etc., etc., so many things, right? But the one fundament that they forget to study is the company. यार एटलीस्ट ये तो पता कर लो कि कंपनी में होता क्या है वो कंपनी किस चीज़ के लिए बनी है. These people don't care or don't bother to study about it. I'm not kind of generalizing it. It's just that 60 to 70% of the people that I meet on interviews, and of course, we have refined our process a lot now. Earlier, it used to be sort of like, anyone who would be interested, they would just walk in for the interview. Now it's a lot more refined. There's multiple rounds. First, we connect on the phone, we understand if they're a good fit, etc., etc. But, regardless, if you don't do all of that and you just start interviewing people, you will find that most of the people don't really study the company. They don't really study their position, what their job description looks like, what they will be doing once they're hired, etc., etc. So this is something that I found that, if the applicant is lazy, they will usually not do that. The counter is as much true though. If an applicant studies the company, they know what the company does, and they also know their field, of course, right? That's, of course, a mandate, right? And apart from that, I've seen a couple of applicants who were so interested in working with us, they even altered their resumes to make the resume look like it was catered to work with our company. I mean, if the applicant is doing that, that's something that you can see, all right, this applicant is serious about working with us and they are genuinely putting in the work. They will put in the hard work. They are sincere. They are diligent. Okay. So there's a lot more ways to measure sincerity or diligence, but this is one of the ways. Another way that I found, just as a side note, is that if they have a lot of backlogs and there are no reasons for it, in general, you will find that the applicant is not ready. They don't really care so much about if things go wrong at the company, etc., etc. If their role is as important, you should definitely stay away from such people. And you will find that most companies do. Yeah, right? In the placements, most companies stay away from people who have a lot of backlogs. This is the reason. And this, I could not understand this when I was in college, but now I understand that. I understand that now. So that's my first learning, basically. Point number 2 is a lot of applicants will not read the job description properly, the JD. In general, what I've learned is we like to be very, very transparent because we don't want to waste the applicant's time, or we don't want to waste our time either, right? So what we usually do is in the JD, what we do is we mention either the salary, or if not the salary, at least we're mentioning that, okay, this is the range of the salary, and we're looking for people with 2 to 3 years of experience, 4 to 5 years of experience, 1 to 2 years of experience sometimes, depending on the position type, right? Because again, the pay scale does depend on how much experience you have, and every company has an ability. Okay, this is the amount that we can pay for the applicants at this point. Next year, this mark, right? That this is the amount we can pay. This amount can be raised next year, but for now, this is it, right? And we said it, and we write in the JD, we write on the office location, etc., etc. You do something like that. And the applicants in general, sometimes, when they come to us and we connect on the phone with them, we go through the process, all right, we see if everything's looking good. And then at the point of inviting them to the interview, we just want to confirm, okay, this is an in-office position. Sometimes they'll say, oh, I thought this was work from home. But the applicant basically did not really take out the time to read the first line of the JD, which was basically in bold. We write down, okay, this is an in-office position, right? Only apply if you're okay with that. So, sometimes, some other times it could be like the applicant has maybe 10 years of experience, and we're looking for someone who is in the pay grade of 3 to 4 years of experience. And again, we mentioned this in the JD, first, second, third line only, and they tell us, oh, wait, last salary I was drawing was so much because I have 15 years of experience. And we're like, okay, why didn't you read the JD then? Because we're basically trying to be as transparent as we can, so we wouldn't have wasted these 30 minutes on the phone. Anyway, right? So these are the things that happen often. And of course, if you have some rigid processes and you kind of, just reconfirm the salary, the position type in office, or, freelancing, etc., etc., whatever it is, all of these things, office location, whether the commute works, I think these are the things you should clarify first off, even without getting into technical details of, okay, here's how web development looks like, and, do you know this, do you know that? All that can come in later. First, understand if the person wants to work with you, right? Point number three is that many great applicants, or great people that we've had working with us, they came to us just because their companies were not paying them on time. Like, for instance, I'll tell you what happens in a lot of companies. They would say that, okay, you will get paid in the last week or the first week, whatever it is, first week of this month, first week of every month you'll get paid. Okay, and a lot of smaller companies or medium level companies, what they do is sometimes they hold off that salary, they don't pay on time, they can even make you wait 1 month sometimes. Especially with the pandemic, this had kind of worsened. Now, this actually worked out in our favor because we actually have strict rules that on the 7th of every month we will pay the employees. It has to be done. And you know what? On the 7th of every month, before 1 a.m. only, 12 a.m. to 1 a.m., that's the time. In this short 1 hour period, we usually pay out all the employees, right? Or interns, whatever it is, right? So we basically do it like that. And in general, that's something that the employees do think is in our favor. And I've heard good feedback about that. I think that's one of the reasons that we're able to sustain the employees, because you can't really sustain a person who's basically traumatized by the fact that, okay, will I be paid or not, or will I be even paid, or like what will be my salary this month, etc., etc., right? You should have a concrete date set in your company that, okay, this is the date and I will be paying the employees on this date, or the HR will be paying the employees, or whoever it is, the manager, etc., etc., they will be dispersing the salaries on this date, and this is absolutely mandatory. Otherwise, good applicants will go away from your company. Point number four that I learned is what is completely okay before the hiring may not be okay after the selection. Let me explain. Let's say that you are hiring an employee. Now, with employees, this happens a lot with the pay grade. They will come to the interview, they will even come to the office, they'll say, okay, this so and so pay grade works for us, that's completely fine, please go ahead. And once you go ahead and select them, right, once you shortlist all the applicants and you basically offer them the job, at that point of time, sometimes what happens is they pick up the phone and they say, oh, you know what, I did not know that it would basically, it would be a little bit costly for me to commute over there, etc., etc. So all of these things come in, and sometimes they say, okay, look, we're looking for something that's 30% above the salary you're offering, etc., etc. This happened to me last month actually with one applicant, and it was kind of disappointing because we went through the whole interviewing process. It's not a small process, it doesn't happen one day, right? And with everything out of the way, at the end, we offered them the salary that was basically, at the towards the top of the pay range, right? Towards the top. If we had like, X to Y, then we offered them something very close to Y, right? And at the end of the day, when we did that, well, they said, okay, well, this is not enough for me, I just realized. So these things kind of keep happening. And of course, you can't blame the applicant also, but at the same time, this could have saved maybe 2 or 3 days of work, right? The interviewing process. However, with interns, it's different. Interns, I think they're a great way to basically, start off. For instance, if you have a very small company, you can start off with interns, right? Or if you're a single man company, and after that, what you can do is you can convert them to employees or hire employees. Or, what we personally like to do is we like to do a lot of experimentation. Okay, we don't have a customer care representative. I'm just giving you an example over here. Okay, how about we try hiring someone? Well, if we hire someone for a job, then of course, we are liable. We can't just remove them in 1 month. It doesn't look good, right? Or 2 months, 3 months. It doesn't look good if we are hiring someone and then removing someone. So why don't we hire an intern for 3 months? See how it goes, see if we really need someone who is a customer support executive in our company. And if we do, then we'll hire someone permanently. The customer support part, that's just an example. But again, you can basically go ahead and do this, and you can basically do a lot of experimentation with the interns. But what happens, again, is what's okay before the interview is sort of like, oh yes, I can definitely come to the office. These are the timings, I can definitely make it, no problem. Oh yes, I will definitely do this, I will definitely do that. But at the end of the day, the problem comes in such that, okay, look, I'm not able to come in because my college work right now is very hectic, or I'm just not able to serve for full 3 months because, well, so and so thing happened, my college just started, now I need to go. So all of these things do come in. So what's definitely okay before the interviewing process, and the applicant will tell you definitely it's perfect, I will definitely be able to do that, there's no issue at all. The applicant does change later on, and this happens a lot of times with interns. With employees, I already told you, it's basically on the selection. It can be in the form of, the sort of the salary, etc., etc. So, these things do happen. The fifth is, if you are an employer or even an employee going for an interview, always focus on the long-term relationship. Okay, never go ahead and try to waste someone's time, whether you're interviewing or you are basically the person who is an interviewee. Either way, try not to waste either party's time, because again, you don't know how important this may be for the other person. So the way to measure long-term prospects would be, number one, by looking at the previous positions of the person who is coming in. Have they worked in the same field before? How long do they work? And if they do work, what is the average duration of how much time do they stay at a single company before moving on to another, right? So all of these things count over there. The next one is their long-term plans. Ask them about their long-term plans. Really understand why they want to be in the field, and whether you think they will stay in the field. Is there any motivation for them? What kind of things they like about the field, right? So basically, they should be passionate about the field. They should have some sort of passion attached to that field. And of course, if they do have one, then understand the opportunities for growth. Okay, this is the kind of growth you're looking for in the next 2 or 3 years. This is the kind of growth that we are going to provide you. This is how we will provide you that growth that you're looking for, right? So these are the things that you should look for. और ये सब चीज़ें ऐसे नहीं है यार, बहुत सारे लोगों को इंटरव्यू करते 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 एज एन अब तो ऑलमोस्ट ऐसा होता है कि हर हफ्ते कुछ इंटरव्यूज तो होते ही हैं, तो वी आर ऑलवेज ऑलमोस्ट हायरिंग, तो ये सब होते रहता है. And then we get to learn a little bit more, and this is how things go. But in general, I feel like I don't feel like I'm a know-it-all at the end. There's definitely a lot more to learn. You can continue doing this and you can continue learning. There's so much, like the field is so diverse, right? All kinds of people you will meet in this field. Some are good, some are great, and sometimes really some people are not so great as well. So either way, it's your job to be able to identify them and protect your company as well, right? So I hope this video gives you some perspective into what I do a lot of times, and what I deal with as well. I'm trying to give you over here my perspective in terms of what I've learned over the years. Definitely, I'm not an HR person. They will probably know more about this whole process, but this is my experience. This is what I learned, and I hope that this helps you in some way or the other. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think? What kind of other things we can look for in this whole interview process to make it easier? Because definitely, I'm always on the lookout to make the process easier, both for the applicant and for us as well. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye and take care for now.